Ah, hello everyone. So we're back with you. Uh, thank you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
So,
Good evening.
so we were supposed to go live an hour ago, guys, and a text popped up on my phone saying that something about our internet that shouldn't be happening, and we had to just immediately, before we went live, say, hey, this needs to be resolved. Went back and forth with them until they resolved it. And we had to refresh a couple of times and make sure everything was working and it's actually working properly so we can stream and not having any buffering issues and hoping that we don't go out of sync. But I think we're here, guys. So before we get started, as you can see the title, but before we get started, please remember to like, share, subscribe, tell your family, tell a friend, tell a relative. Hey, just tell the world, help us to grow. We'll try. We're trying to get there so we can provide more content for you guys and we can have a bigger audience. So if you guys can help us out and subscribe, comment, like, we would appreciate it. I apologize for the delay, but it was a delay that was well resolved, right? So without further ado, we're going to get in the show. Tonight we have Charlie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And I'm So Shy, Guard So Shy. And we have Ray, I like to call Stingray, in the control on the one. If we use it as music on the ones and two, but he's running the equipment. He's the man of the hour.
We call it the boards, G. We call it the boards.
You call it the boards.
Yes,
but
he's on the boards.
But this is a podcast studio. It's not a music studio.
Right, but the setup is still represented as the boards. It's an engineer. Facts.
Well, he's in the producer bay, everyone. So,
absolutely.
But tonight we have an interesting show, and it's another one. Hey, Ray, let's pull up the thumbnail for a second. Get to the thumbnail so they can see the thumbnail that we have. Yeah, pull that up. Yeah. No, the wrong one. That's why I was telling you earlier to make sure we have it ready. Yes, that one. Right? So, as you can see, it's a new lawsuit. And it says, Diddy forced woman to do it with Kim Porter. Kim Porter being his ex and mother of his child. You have quite a few children with her, right? And so it's another one, guys. I believe we're on the 6th or 7th lawsuit here. They're coming out of the woodworks. First, it was, I'm innocent of all allegations and I'll be vindicated. Many people started saying that they'll wait until they see more evidence. I was
one of them.
I had my concerns, my opinions, but we were doing shows and talking about the possibility of Diddy being actually guilty from all the things that he've done in the past. And they said, where there's smoke, there is fire, right? And he put out a apology. I analyzed that apology and I actually want to do a short piece on that apology, but maybe by the time it's done, it's probably going to be out of the new cycle. But when I analyzed the apology that he put on his social media on the gram, I watched his facial expression. I listened to what he said, and everybody out there, that whatever God that you believe in, notice that whenever he speaks of God, he looked away from the camera, right? And that was a clear sign to me that he knew, he knew that Ray, he knew that he was guilty, and there's more to come. This guy is a predator. This guy is a monster. He is one of the worst of them, right? And to know that he is such a cruel person. I've said to you, Charles, that I believe that he's the one that unalived Kim because she was going to release a tell-all book.
Right.
And he unalived anybody that's going to tell their story. Somehow they come up with the same issue. It's always a heart attack. They're found in some disposition in their house or their apartment. Right? And he says, "Oh, I'm innocent. I'm innocent of all these accusations." But the culprit, the bastard, did not realize that there evidence there. There are things out there because he's a bad guy. So so with this show, right? It's two lawsuits that was filed this week, and you guys saw a glimpse on the screen that Ray pulled up quickly, and we took it down. But that's for the next show that we were supposed to do. That's the other lawsuit that was filed, two in the same week, right? So this lawsuit is of April Lampros, right? That's April that he's hugged up with in the picture, the image in the middle, right? And that's Kim Porter in the blue with our logo there, right? And that's a snippet of the lawsuit right in the background behind the title, right? So out of the two lawsuits, April has a lot to say. She has a lot to say. So we're going to get into it, and I already have my thoughts, and I just want to unleash all of it, but we have to go with the process, go through the process. But let me tell you, everybody, this is something, and I've skimmed through some part of this lawsuit, and wow, it's serious. It is serious, right? But let's get into it.
You want to kick off the reading, or you want me to kick off?
I think I'm going to let you be the bearer of good news to the people that thought that this man was a saint sent to us from the gods, right? So,
but such is not the case.
So let's start off with the Supreme Court.
All right. Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York. April Lampros, plaintiff, versus Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records, Arista Records, a subsidiary of Sony Music Entertainment, John and Jane Does 1 through 10, and ABC Corps. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, this is a official document of the lawsuit.
Yes.
Going to
Yes.
start it on this. Plaintiff Lampros brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of the Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Law, Gender Motivated Violence Act, NYC Admin Code, of course, all of the legal verbiage to it.
Oh, we have to read those legal verbiage.
NYC Admin Code 10 through 1101 and VGMPL. Okay, yeah. Ray's highlighting it for the viewers out there.
Yes.
And
Thank you, Ray.
this cause of action is timely under the Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Law, Gender Motivated Violence Act, NYC Admin Code 10-1101, because it arises out of conduct perpetrated against plaintiff who was the statutory age or older at the time.
All right, hold on. So let's discuss about what gender motivated violence is. All right?
Okay.
With a gender motivated violence, it's more for protective. It's a protective law, right? It's a language that will let you know that this act of violence was perpetrated on a woman.
Okay.
Because she's of a different gender than the man being the culprit, right?
Right.
And them being the defendant, or him being the defendant, he's a male and she's a female. So they want to make sure that they put it in such a way so when people read it, or when it's read by lawyers, judges,
Right.
or anyone that's in the legalistic field, they can see that this act of violence was geared towards a woman and woman specific. So that's why gender motivated violence was clearly stated here, because it's a protective law for a woman, right?
That is interesting.
So, all right, you want me to take the next one, or you want to continue? There are cliff notes here too, so if we can read the cliff notes here, where the NYC Victim of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, New York, and that's NYC Gender Motivated Violence Act, created a look back window on March 1st, 2023, which runs from 2 years. No, sorry, which runs for 2 years for survivors of gender motivated violence, allowing them to sue their abuser regardless of when the abuse occur. So if the abuse happened years ago, they can come back and sue the abuser.
So technically they're saying the statute of limitations doesn't apply for this kind of crime.
Exactly. There's no statute of limitations, right? So go on. I go on with the cliff note. The
NYC Gender Motivated Violence Act reviews any claims against a party who commits, directs, enables, participates in, or conspires in the commission of a crime of violence motivated by gender, has a cause of action against such party in any court of competent jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
NYC Admin Code.
No, don't worry about NYC Admin Code.
Okay. The Appellate Division has held the sexual assault an act of gender motivated violence under the law as coerced sexual activity is dehumanizing and fear inducing. Malice or ill will based on gender is apparent from the alleged commission of the act itself.
Mm-hmm. So pause right there. And we don't have to finish reading that paragraph. So this law is extremely devastating and damaging to anyone that's being accused, and there is some kind of evidence to prove that the accused had done
what they did
or did this act. So think about, do you know anybody that was sexually abused?
That went to report that went to report it to police?
Before they reported it, they were abused, but they were in fear to go and report it. You know?
I don't think I do.
I do. And let me tell you, that's a antagonizing feeling when you can hear someone you know explain what they're going through because they're fearful of going and talking to someone, and especially if the person is powerful. It's like there's no recourse, no action that will be taken against the culprit.
Right.
So the abuser will walk free for many, many years. And some of these abusers have handlers that will make sure that if someone comes and try and make a claim against them, they're going to brush it under the rug. Oh, that's just that person, you know. And in this case, they probably just said that's just Diddy, or their palms are being greased, so because their money's been shelled out,
Right.
they look the other way.
Right.
This law helped them because it possibly could be that the person think that everything is okay, and it given enough time, the abused person will build up enough confidence to be able to talk about their experience or go to the authorities about their experience. So this is what this gender motivated violence act does for those people. All right.
Wow.
Let's all right. So of the conduct which constitute multiple sexual offenses as defined in Article 130 of New York Appellate Law Act 130. This suit arises from the action of defendant Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records, which is abbreviated as BB.
Right.
Arista Records, which is abbreviated as AR, a subsidiary of Sony Music Entertainment, which is abbreviated as SME, and Jane Doe and ABC Corp. So those I don't really know who they are, but obviously they're placed there for some reason. I don't know if ABC Corp has anything to do with the ABC company.
Maybe those could be the direct people under Diddy.
Could be.
These people.
So it goes on to say that April Lampros is a Caucasian female. Notice
Wow.
how explicit they were.
Right.
She's a Caucasian female.
Right.
Like, wow. It's a different environment now. It's a different climate. This now, because think, if it's a non-Caucasian, they're like,
They don't put that.
they'll put woman or
Young lady, young woman.
Exactly. They don't put that. But when they put April Lampros, and this is her lawyer's doing. He worded this, you know. He worded this. Tyrone is his name.
Tyrone Blackburn.
Tyrone Blackburn. I mean, he's getting all these lawsuits. This guy is going to be. You have to go to him and say, "Are you Bank Lambert? Are you Bank what's his last name? Blackburn. Are you Bank Blackburn?" Right. So, April Lamport is a Caucasian female in a United States citizen who was at all relevant times relevant to the action, a resident and of a domicile in the state of New York. Take 5.
Mr. Combs is a United States citizen and was at all relevant times.
Pause right there. Pause right there.
I know you caught that.
Pause right there. You see what they did?
Right.
April Lampros is a Caucasian, but Mr. Combs
It's just a
United States citizen. Yeah, he's a celebrity, right? He's well known so the world over, but
even the way that they put this together, the way he worded it, you would think Mr. Combs is just somebody named Mr. Combs. That can be your neighbor down the hall.
Exactly, right? That could essentially be one of his son or a cousin or something like that, right?
Right.
So they minimize his caliber, who he is, right? And elevate who she is in society and how America or some parts of the world look at her because of her skin tone. That's why it was worded this way,
and
for the impact.
Let's not lose context of what this is about. We're not siding with Diddy because of what we're discovering as we begin to read this. It's just to get a understanding of of the temperature.
Yes. Yes.
Of what it is.
Yes.
And it's like even if you're someone who isn't guilty and you're being accused of something, it doesn't have to be this specifically.
Yes.
But when it comes to your skin color
Mm-hmm.
in the court of law,
Yes.
these people make it their duty
Mm-hmm.
to just set the temperature, to just set that division there.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Whether you're innocent or guilty or whatever you're being accused of. And we just want the viewers to understand that and to look at it firsthand while you have this in front of you.
Right.
Facts.
So
Right.
you want to take 6?
Yeah, I'll
Or-
take.
Let me finish 5.
All right,
five
go
for
ahead.
the viewers. Was at all relevant times a resident of and domiciled in the state of New York. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs is currently domiciled in both California and Florida. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs divides his time equally between both states.
Damn.
Continue.
Upon information and belief, AR is a global music company headquartered at 888 7th Ave, Florida 38, New York. Oh, floor 38.
Which paragraph are we on?
We're on 6.
Okay, I jumped forward a little bit. Sorry, my finger pressed. All right, go ahead.
Upon information and belief, AR is a global music company headquartered at 888 7th Avenue, floor 38, New York, New York, zip code 10106. And I think, that up until 8 is just pretty much highlighting where the record companies are located. So let me jump to 9. During the relevant period, defendants John and Jane Does 1 through 10 are currently unknown individuals and or employees who aided and or abetted in the commission of conduct in the commission of conduct complained of herein, and or who either acted within the scope of their employment, defendants ratified, embraced, and added to this conduct. As parties engage in discovery, plaintiff retains the right to amend the complaint to add these individual employees by name.
All right, pause right there. So, everyone, that was paragraph 9. Now, this paragraph state that at any time, the plaintiff decides that she wants to add a particular person, she can speak to her lawyer, right? They can do an amendment to this suit, the lawsuit, and add that employee by name, right? And it would automatically be retroactive from the day that the lawsuit started, right? So that's what this particular paragraph is about. And it's very important in a document like this that this kind of paragraph is placed, because oftentimes we will forget something when we're emotional and we'll walk away with this, I should have said that. That ever happened to you?
Yeah, definitely.
I should have said that. Man, I wish I had said that. Or should I said it this way? Right?
Right.
Or should I called that person out or something like that? That's what this paragraph does for the plaintiff. All right, you want me to take 10?
Go ahead.
During the relevant period, defendant ABC Corporation 1 to 10 are current unknown entities who employed plaintiff or aided and or abetted in the commission of conduct complained of herein. As the party engaged in discovery, plaintiff retains the right to amend the complaint to add these entities and individuals by name. That's the one you just read, right? Yeah, you had read that one, right?
I read 9.
You read 9. Okay, so it was a bit redundant right there, but okay, yeah, it was redundant but it was slightly different. So it was based. One is based on John and Jane Doe's, and the other one was for ABC Corporation. Right?
You want me to take 11 because this looks interesting.
All right, yeah, let's go for it.
Jurisdiction and venue. This court has personal jurisdiction over the defendant under and consistent with the constitutional requirements of due process, in that defendant, acting directly or through his agents or apparent agents, committed one or more of the following: the transaction of any business within the state, the making of any contract within the state, the commission of a tortious act within the district, and the ownership, use, or possession of any real estate in this state.
Do you understand what that means?
They basically are saying that if he did any of this within the state of New York while this was going on,
Or any state.
they are able to use that in court as they go through this process.
Yeah, that means if he has a resident, right, and it was a part of this issue that was going on, this abuse that was going on, they can enact some kind of eminent domain over those properties, right, and and have jurisdiction over those, possession, jurisdiction over those things, and even as number C, commission of a torturous act within this district. So let's read A through D again. I'll take it.
Go ahead.
Right? The transaction of any business within the state, the making of any contract within the state, the commission of any torturous act within the state, the ownership, use, or possession of any real estate within the state. That means this defendant, the diddler, will be diddled. and it will be by the state. Right?
Yes.
He will be diddled by the state. Let's see how much power he has now. Right? So let's continue. Summary of factual accusation.
Okay.
Upon information and belief, Miss Lampros met Mr. Combs in early 1994 after birth of his first son, Justin D.R. Combs. Now we're on 13. At the same time, Miss Lampros was a college student at the Fashion Institute of Technology, abbreviated as FIT,
Right.
studying fashion design and marketing. To impress her, listen to this part, to impress her, Mr. Combs would often invite her to Bad Boy Records studio in New York City. So she's not to minimize her, everyone, not to minimize her, but she's a mere college student, and he is a music executive that has this power, or rising power.
Right.
And he is so smitten by her that he is going to do everything to impress her, inviting her to Bad Boy Records, and whatever happened in the studio.
Hey, this is where the business go down, baby.
Yeah, where the business go down, right? So we can scroll down and look at the picture. There's a picture below, right? So that's 3 individuals in the studio. One person is redacted, face blocked out, and then in the middle is Sean Combs, and then that's April Lampros with his arms around her, right? That's the blonde hair Caucasian woman in the silver dress, right? So everybody take a good look, right? That person is the one that came out and say, hey, Mr. Combs, Diddy, Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, I'm sorry, but you diddled me. Right? Yeah. And you did that years ago. Now I'm not scared of you anymore. I am going to tell.
She is going to bring truth to the public.
Yes. As they say, speak truth to power. Right?
Speak truth to power.
All right, so let's continue. You
Okay.
want to take this from Miss Lampros and Sean Combs?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. When she met Mr. Combs, Miss Lampros shared with him her dreams of working in the fashion industry, and Mr. Combs promised to mentor her and help her by introducing her to music and fashion industry executives, as well as assisting her with finding work.
Stop the cap.
Man.
You see the intentions, the
Right.
underlying intention just from that paragraph alone, right?
Right.
Because if somebody have clout, they're powerful, right? I'm going to tell you this quickly story. I met this lawyer many years ago, right? And I didn't know that he backed for the other team.
What do you mean backed for the other team?
He bat for the other team.
So you're
He bat for the other team.
Basket boy.
Ah.
So basically,
my hand
people
slipped.
people you were in.
He bat for the other team, mean that he's gay.
Oh, I didn't. I thought. Let me tell you how I understood it. Meaning your competition.
No.
He did their lawyer work. For
No,
them.
no. So let me explain, right? So let me explain. He felt that he had power
Over you.
for some reason. So
Wow.
I'm trying to get him to do business,
Okay.
but he had other intentions.
Oh.
So at the time, my then business partner said, "Hey, go and meet him because he seems like he only want to talk to you
Right.
about business."
Right.
So I said, "No, man. This guy seemed kind of
Funny.
sus to me." Exactly.
Right.
And he was like, "No. You're doing business. Hear what he has to say. He's a businessman. He's a lawyer. We're trying to get certain legalistic things done. Go
Right.
talk to him."
Right.
So after weeks of deliberating, I finally agreed to go meet with him. Right. So I made my way to Aventura, and he was waiting there. But he told me to be there at a time, and because I don't want to be there on time, because whatever intentions he had, I took my sweet time to get there, right? So when I got there, he said, "Oh, they already finished serving meal." I knew that, so I didn't want to go there and him and I sitting around a table, and I don't know who else is around us watching, right? So I got there. So he said, "You want something to drink?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, come on and drink a beer." I'm like, "What kind of beer you want to drink?" I said, "I'm not a big drinker, but I take a Heineken." Right.
Right.
All right. So I drank and finished, and so it's time for us to close. I sip it and time for close. So we went outside and heading towards the parking lot, and he was like, "You gonna leave?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're done here." Right.
Yeah, boy.
So he said, "My car is over there, so I have to pass his car to get to mine." Right at the time, right?
What?
Right. So because I parked further in the parking lot,
Wow.
passing by his car. So he says, "Hey, this is my car." I said, "Yeah, I know." He was like, "Have you ever sit in a big body 600 Benz?" I said,
No.
"I'm good." He said, No. Let me open the door. You can sit inside." He's like, "No." I'm like, "I'm good." He said, "You sure? You sit in a big body 600 Benz?" I'm like, "No." He was like,
He was zesty when he was saying it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
man.
So he was. I was like, "I don't need to. I don't get crazy over a car." And you want to know something? I had one just like this before. Right. And it was fully flushed. It was decked out. Right. So your car is not impressing me. Right.
He may have taken it the other way.
Right. The car is not impressing me. Right. I didn't tell him how I came. It came about that I was able to have this car for the time that I had the car.
Right.
Right. And then he made a proposition to me to give me fellatio.
Wow.
Right in the parking lot.
Wow.
And I was like, "Hey, I think we're
What?
yeah.
We're done here.
I think we're done here."
Bro,
Yeah.
what are you
Right?
talking about, man?
He was like, "No one has to know." Then he asked me this question because he feels powerful. Then he asked me this question. "So you guys need 50 grand, right?" I said, "Yeah, we need 50 grand to get our business to move to the next level."
Right.
He says, "If you allow me to do that to you, I will write the check for 50 grand right now." I said, no, I'm not that interested. I'm
Not
not,
the cap.
I'm not that desperate. No, it's for real, for real, for real. I'm like, I'm not that desperate. And at that moment, I walked to the to where I need to go to leave, and that was the last time I spoke with him.
Mm.
Right?
Damn.
And those and if
Damn.
yeah, I don't even want to get, but that's what happened to me. So because he's a high-powered lawyer, he feel like I'm a peon needing money, and he's going to
You could try. You think
yes,
you could try.
yes, he's going to dazzle me and mesmerize me with his possessions and influence and the fact that he can write a check for the 50 grand and give us, but I need to allow him to do what he wants to me. He even invited me over to his condo because his condo wasn't far from the mall. I was like, no, I'm not interested. Right? So
It's crazy.
so this kind of situation is kind of like, for her, I could understand her plight, right? So we can continue. I just had to drop that little piece in there so I can explain to you how I understand how someone with influence can think that they have the power to overshadow you and be overbearing and use that power to influence you to get what they want when they really mean any good. They were a nefarious individual. All right, let's continue.
Understood.
So, you want to take 15?
Understood. Yes. Mr. Combs love bombed her. He showered her with gifts and flowers, as evidenced by one of the cards that accompanied the flowers that Mr. Combs sent to Miss Lampros for Valentine's Day in 1994. Mr. Combs went so far as to invite Miss Lampros to his first Father's Day celebration. The invitation to that event is below, but this is blank.
Yeah. So look at the no there.
Oh
No,
it's
go
here.
back. Oh, go back. There it is. You see? That's the invitation. You see it?
Yep.
Happy Valentine's Day, love, Puffy.
What did he say?
Right? So he obviously is smitten by this woman, this college student,
What does smitten mean again?
meaning that he's head over heels. He's so taken in by someone.
Beta.
No. It happens to everyone. If you see a girl that you like and you really want to get that girl, you do the things necessary to impress her within reason, so you can get her to be interested in you. Or even if she's interested in you, you get her to be a little bit more interested in you by the kind deeds you do as a man towards her. So that entails like,
Right.
you're smitten. You're doing those things to.
You treat her as you think she should be treated, and how you would want to be treated.
Not necessarily how you'd want to be treated, how you think she would want to be treated because you want something from her. And that something is her hot pocket.
Okay.
All right.
I will leave that there.
So, number 16. Mr. Combs went so far as to invite Miss Lampros. Miss Lampros to his first Father's Day celebration. The invitation to the event is below. All right. So, okay. So, as you can see the picture, that's him with Justin D.R. Combs, right? June 1994, right? Bad Boy Entertainment would like for you to come and join us in a celebration, the original Bad Boys' first Father's Day celebration. For this occasion, there is a dress code. No jeans, no sneakers will be permitted. The spectacular event will be held at the Capitol location at 1110 First Avenue at 6th Street. The event will begin promptly at 10 p.m. and will go until. Please come early to avoid any inconvenience. For further information, you can contact the offices of Bad Boy Entertainment at 741-7070. Right? That's a good number actually, right? Remember, the dress code will be strictly enforced. So dress your best. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, Bad Boy Entertainment. Right? June 1994. We just mentioned that. Right. So, all right. So, number 17. A month after the Father's Day event, Mr. Combs invites Miss Lampros to an exclusive Bad Boy party with performances by Usher, Craig Mack, and the Notorious B.I.G. Right? And as you can see, that's him and his son, chilling in the couch. Son looking like he's ready to jump off to the world, right? Right. So that was July 1994, right? All right, take 18.
Upon information and belief, what Mr. Combs displayed as kind gestures quickly manifested into an aggressive, coercive, and abusive relationship based on sex.
Mm-hmm.
These acts were not isolated to the state of New York, as Mr. Combs would fly Mrs. Lampros to Atlanta to see him, where they would spend time together. Just scrolled up.
Mm-hmm.
Where they would spend time together. Miss Lampros would also fly to Miami to see Mr. Combs at his home.
Mm-hmm.
Upon information and belief, throughout the years with Mr. Combs, there were 4 terrifying sexual encounters Miss Lampros endured. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs had a terrible temper and often threatened to harm her if she failed to do what he said.
All right, pause right there. Pause right there.
Interesting.
He has a terrible temper and often threatened to harm her if she didn't do what he said.
No boy can't ramp with me, boy, so.
For real. Right? And as you can see, as we've seen in the video with Cassie, what he did.
Terrible temper.
Terrible temper, right? And many people have expressed this. This man have been said to have hit his mother. Now, my mom and I have gotten some serious spats, but
he hit the old girl.
Yeah.
Oh.
My mom and I have gotten some serious spats.
What?
I've said some stuff, but I never picked up my hand and I hit my mother.
Never.
Right?
That's crazy.
So to know that he smacked his mom, right? And Gene Deal had to tell him that if he ever do it again, he's gonna beat his ass, right? And he's like, oh, Gene Deal say, he said, but I told him to told her to stay out of my business. Really? So you're gonna smack your mom in the face, right? Now,
wow.
Now, if he can do that to his mom, right? And what's the limitations that he have? It's easy for him to do it to a woman, but here's what I'm going to say. He may have had, well, not may, he've had children with women. Because, of course, we need a woman to procreate with, right?
Absolutely.
But how can a man says he love a woman and beat her? I don't understand that. I never understand that, right? There's some man that will smack a woman because, there's some woman that she could be a pint-sized woman, 4 foot 4, and get into a guy's face that's 6'6", right?
A lot of power
to fight, right? But she knows she has the law in the palm of her hand. She can use the law to her advantage, right? So sometimes a guy will defend himself when a woman is hitting on him. He'll walk away, or he may smack her. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. It depends on who the guy is, right? Okay, but to beat a woman in such a manner, kick her, stomp her, that's a whole level of wickedness, right? But here's what's funny. You've never heard him doing it physically to a man. If a man offends him, he gets somebody else to take care of him, take care of it, right? He won't physically go, right? He did it to Drake, but why did he smack Drake and got away with it? because he had his cronies
Come
around.
on, G. Why you gotta do Drake like that?
But because it's a fact, right? He had his cronies around.
It
right?
was an altercation, to be fair.
It was an, but he had his cronies around. If it was just him and Drake alone, I don't think he would have done that.
Nah, not at all.
Right? But he has his people around that if Drake moved a certain way, he's going to be dealt with.
And also with Kendrick Lamar, when Kendrick Lamar came out with Control and said he's the king of New York and the West Coast, the East Coast and West Coast, they had an event shortly after in New York where Kendrick Lamar was present, and he approached Kendrick Lamar to slap him, and J. Cole had to mediate everything. J. Cole said it in one of his songs.
Okay, because he has his cronies around, right? But even those cronies that he have around, I've experienced him being very abusive to women.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Me and my brother have jacked up a dude. Jacked him up.
Yeah, I remember.
And
you said
the only reason why we didn't make him not being able to walk again and not sit in a wheelchair was because we know the consequence that would have happened to us if we did it. But we were livid when we saw him smacking her around.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, yeah.
So I don't understand why a man would beat on a woman. I've been hit by a woman before. I've been hit by a woman I've dated before, right? And you know what?
Damn.
When that happened, I look at my hand. I always look at my hand. My hands. I'm not a big dude, right? But my hands are huge. I'm not a Shaq-sized dude, or you know.
We have a
right.
different kind of force.
And
as
exactly.
men.
And if I was
women.
to make my fist and draw back and hit a woman, I'm gonna knock her out. She's gonna be cold turkey. Yeah. So to watch him do this to watch him do this to a woman, that's a different kind of evil. But let's continue. So I understand why April Lampros felt the way she felt, because she was terrified of him. So let's continue. But
we on 20, I think.
20 or 21, right? Or we're still on 20.
Oh no, we're on 21. Sorry.
Right.
According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs had a terrible temper and often threatened to harm her if she failed to do what he said, if he witnessed her talking to other men, or if she failed to take his phone calls. According to Miss Lampros, she was also not allowed to talk about her relationship with Mr. Combs to anyone because he did not want anyone to know he was seeing her because she is a white woman.
Damn.
Well, damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on, Puff, you tripping, man.
Yeah. Because back in that time, if you were a rapper back in that time, and you're rapping about the culture, about the actual ethnic group, and you're with a Caucasian woman, you're looked as you're selling out. So even though he's smitten for her,
It's foolishness.
she can't come out. She can't come out and say, this is in Georgia. In Florida, it's different. Down here, we don't care.
But not only down here, in certain parts around the world. I mean, like, that should be a topic for another
let's
time.
not talk about around the world. We're just talking about the fact.
Okay.
So Georgia, where they usually meet where they meet many of the time, but down here or around, it couldn't be an open book things. People couldn't know because it would ruin his reputation, and that possibly would have killed his career. Right? So he had to keep it on the hush.
That is crazy. But let's continue.
Yeah, he had to keep it on the hush.
Sexual assault encounter number 1. The first horrific sexual encounter occurred in 1995 when Miss Lampros met up with Mr. Combs in south of Houston Street at a bar. She was introduced to a woman named, which is redacted, and the group lightly drank throughout that evening. At the time, Miss Lampros was a college student and did not drink any alcohol. Due to Mr. Combs' delusional and violent outburst, she succumbed to pressure and reluctantly drank with Mr. Combs.
Okay.
And I think this is a redacted name. As they drank, Miss Lampros began to feel uneasy. At this point, she had only had a few sips of one drink. That's strange. Miss Lampros and the redacted name were guided to a vehicle and left the bar. With Mr. Combs. My
All
screen
right.
went out.
All right, check this. How, if you drink or drink on occasion and you have a few sips, and after a few sips you start feeling kind of wheezy or hazy or a little bit disheveled, that means somebody spiked your drink. Right?
But hold on, because in the doc it says at the time Miss Lampros was a college student and did not drink any alcohol, so she was a rookie.
Yeah.
But she said after a few sips, she began to feel uneasy.
Right. So I just say if you drink and you start feeling a little bit wheezy or disheveled, then somebody spike your drink, right? She didn't drink. So even if she take 2 sips, it's going to hit her
She's
differently,
gonna feel the effect, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I think she felt the effect a lot more deeper than just the normal mellow effects, right? And then he swooped her away in a vehicle.
To be honest with you, I think she just told the lawyer that she took a few sips. I don't think she took a few sips, man.
Your mic, it seemed like your mic just went.
Yeah, I think it just went out, but I'll re-say it. I think for this lawsuit, I don't believe that she took a few sips.
Yeah.
I think she took more than that.
Yeah, I think she took more than that too. All right. So
25. You want to take that one?
yeah, they arrived at the Millennium Hotel. While at the hotel, Miss Lampros continued to feel uneasy. She recalls feeling like the walls were closing in on her. She was laid on the hotel's bed where Mr. Combs forced himself on top of her. Mr. Combs began kissing Miss Lampros, and as she turned her head, trying to avoid the interaction, he grabbed her face. Mr. Combs continued kissing her. That means he grabbed her face and forced his lips on her lips, forcing to kiss her. Right?
Like
Chucky. That's what I take from that. Miss Lampros informed him that she wasn't feeling well, but he ignored her words and continued to take off her clothing. Miss Lampros tried to hold onto her clothing, but she felt weak and powerless in this situation because she was already tipsy, so she has no strength, right? She was being overpowered. That was the motive of getting her on liquor and then swooping her away to the hotel, right? Miss Lampros pled with Mr. Combs to stop. He ignored her. Miss Lampros could not process why this was occurring and felt a loss of control. Miss Lampros was being raped by Mr. Combs and she soon passed out. That is some shizness right there. That's some shit.
Some shizness.
You know, that's crazy. Next morning, Miss Lampros was awoken by the sun peering through the drapes. She was nude, sore, and confused. Miss Lampros quickly got out of bed, clothed herself, and left the hotel room as fast as she could. Months after the rape, Mr. Combs pursued Miss Lampros. He sent her gifts, cards, and flowers used his power to access to the music industry events to lure Miss Lampros back to him. Miss Lampros was a hopeful yet naive college student and took Mr. Combs at his word and believed that the first rape was a possibly mulligan. Stupid. Right? So for those that don't know what mulligan means,
and finish G mulligan and decided to give him a second chance.
Right. So mulligan essentially means that it didn't happen. it's a second chance. You're forgiven, and you move on. So we can look it up, Mulligan, and give a clear description. But I'm quite sure that's what it means based on my past research on words. So, oh shucks. Sorry, everyone. Oh, it's not. Mulligan. Oh, shucks. Give me a second, everyone. Okay. All right. Yes, exactly. I was right based on my past research of words. Mulligans means a second chance to perform an act. That's the actual definition. So mulligan means a second chance, right? So she as let me start back from there. Miss Lampros was hopeful yet naive college student who took Mr. Combs at his words and believed that the first rape was a possible mulligan and decided to give him a second chance. Stupid. The definition is right there, right? So 34, paragraph 34. At the time, Miss Lampros was a college student in her late teens and early 20s. Her decision to return to Mr. Combs after being raped is indicative of many assault survivors who return to their abuser. That's like the Stockholm syndrome.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's like a Stockholm syndrome, right? So you know what a Stockholm syndrome is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone that don't know what a Stockholm syndrome is essentially when someone has been abused for long periods of time or some time of some traumatic abuse, they tend to start feeling sympathy for their abuser. So that's Stockholm syndrome essentially. Okay. So, all right. Miss Lampros agreed to meet with Mr. Combs. Miss Lampros agreed to meet with Mr. Combs to discuss the business opportunity he promised, as he knew her position was to pursue a career in the fashion and music industry. You see?
Yeah.
She had something to gain.
Yeah.
So because she had something to gain, she totally disregard her experience with Mr. Combs and gave him a second chance to make it right. Right? So it's because she did it because of her ambition. So her ambition overpowered the trauma that she went through from that experience that she had with him when he forced himself on her. All right. So let me continue. They met up and talked near his Manhattan apartment, which was somewhere near 30th Street at the time. Miss Lampros was under the impression that what had occurred months prior between them wouldn't happen again. She was holding on to Mr. Combs's promises to access to his industry to pursue her passion. Right? So obviously, like I said, she had ambitions and she gave him the mulligan because of that. All right, take 37.
37. Mr. Combs was respectful, regained her trust, and used their common interactions with Arista Records, parent company of Bad Boy Records, and Miss Lampros was an intern at Arista Records. Things seemed to be normal between the two until the second incident of sexual assault. During a second incident of sexual assault, Mr. Combs and Miss Lampros were in a parking garage near his Manhattan apartment. She believes it was somewhere near 30th Street. They were headed to dinner, and Mr. Combs was slightly inebriated. As they headed toward the parking garage, Mr. Combs grabbed Miss Lampros by the waist and forced her down to her knees. He quickly unzipped his pants, exposing his erect penis. He then grabbed her hair, wrapping it around his fist,
What?
He then forced his erect penis into her mouth and demanded Miss Lampros perform oral sex. As Miss Lampros' eyes filled with tears, she could see the parking garage attendant witnessing this horrific assault.
Damn.
This had no impact on Mr. Combs. He was blinded by his lustful desire to pleasure himself at Mrs. Lampros' expense. When Mr. Combs was done with her, he told her to get up. Miss Lampros was in shock, morally depleted, embarrassed, and in physical agony because of Mr. Combs violently yanking her down to her knees and pulling her hair. Once again, Miss Lampros made the decision to distance herself, and once again, Mr. Combs came back with gifts and empty promises. Miss Lampros was not moved. She had enough and decided to focus on her studies and leave Mr. Combs for good. That is interesting.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. There's more indeed.
This lawsuit is actually, hey, I'm sorry everyone, I really haven't eaten today, so this is kind of like my food right now. This information, this lawsuit, just reading through this lawsuit, is actually delicious. hey, send me some knife and fork, everyone. let me. I'm cutting into this, you know. All right.
Let's.
Yeah, we're eating here. Let's continue.
Let's get back focused.
Okay?
Okay?
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs was not good at accepting rejection. He immediately switched his approach and became angry, threatening, and forceful. He developed his mobster persona, and Miss Lampros was in fear of him. Miss Combs began calling Miss Lampros incessantly and would often call her just to say, "If anyone is in your apartment, I will beat your ass and theirs." Miss Lampros' reasonable fear of Mr. Combs left her feeling stuck with him and with no way out. He knew where she lived and worked and had connections to ensure her compliance with his demands.
Wow.
She felt that if she disobeyed him, he would take away her dreams of pursuing a career in his world. Mr. Combs would also threaten to blacklist her in the industry if she tried to mess with him in any way. Miss Lampros' dreams and everything she's been working hard for were in the palm of his hands.
Yes, in the palm of, and he knew that. That's the power that he held over her and many others. Right? Yes, a very sinister man. Very sinister man. Yeah. The man that says, I will be vindicated of all of these accusations. Right? While at the same time making an apology. And when he talked about God should forgive him, he looked away from the camera. You bastard. Right? But wait.
You want to take encounter 3 or?
Yeah, I'm going to take it. But wait, there's a special place in prison for you. It's coming. It's coming. After what we experienced, you doing to Cassie on that video, Mr. Combs, I'm telling you, hey, put me in this one right here. Mr. Combs, I'm telling you, right? Before I had doubts. Before I did not believe 100%. But we did some shows, did not believe 100%. But now, that apology, and when you're talking, you didn't seem like you were really apologetic, right? You did not apologize to Cassie. You did not apologize to anyone else. You did not mention any of the things. You made a vague apology. That's my opinion. And like I said, I really want to do a reaction to your actual post you did when you made an apology and analyze how you looked away from the camera and what you were doing. You are a bastard, Mr. Combs. Sean Puffy Combs. You are a bastard. Right? All right.
Go ahead. Take encounter 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So, sexual assault encounter 3. One night in 1996, Mr. Combs ordered Miss Lampros to his Manhattan apartment. Mr. Combs' residence was in the 30s and parked. Sorry, let me start over. Sorry, everyone. Mr. Combs' residence was in the 30s and parked near the Midtown Tunnel. When Miss Lamport arrived, Kim Porter and 2 other people were present. Mr. Combs introduced the woman. They went to a nightclub. After the club closed, they returned to Combs's apartment and they began a night of drinking. A couple of hours into the event, Mr. Combs forced Miss Porter and Miss Lamport to take ecstasy. Here is where it's going to get interesting, guys. Mr. Combs instructed the 2 women to open their mouths. When they complied with the demand, Mr. Combs forced the pill down their throats. To ensure the pills were swallowed, Mr. Combs' hands were so far down Miss Lamport's throat, she gagged. He even checked under her tongue. With the combination of alcohol and ecstasy, which is number 50, everyone, so you guys can look it up. With the combination of alcohol and ecstasy, Miss Lampros recalled feeling lightheaded and lethargic. After being forced to take ecstasy, Mr. Combs then demanded Kim Porter to have sexual intercourse with Miss Lampros. Number 51. Miss Lampros vocally opposed this idea, but Mr. Combs quickly reminded her that she had no control over the situation, as he could make her lose her job. Wow. Number 52. Miss Lampros knew that she had to comply because she had witnessed what happened to someone when someone defies Mr. Combs. She has also been threatened and victimized by Mr. Combs and did not want to cause a problem because she feared him. As Mr. Combs demanded Miss Porter and Miss Lampros to engage in sex, Mr. Combs sat close by, masturbating for some time before pushing Miss Combs off Miss Lamport and forcing his penis inside of her and raping her. That's the 3rd time, right? So this guy.
3rd encounter, the 2nd time she was being raped.
Yeah, 3rd. Yeah, okay. 3rd encounter. Okay. All right. So Miss Lamport felt numb at the moment and emotionally checked out. A few hours later, Miss Lampros.
We gotta get that one right.
Miss Lampros recalled being woken up by Mr. Combs and told to leave the residence. And I think he did that abruptly. Get out, kind of like, yeah. She felt disgusted, ashamed, and embarrassed, and couldn't believe what had happened. This deserve a hell no, Ray.
Hell no.
Number 56. Shortly after this event, Miss Lampros slowly distanced herself from Mr. Combs. Even though she was reluctant to be with him, he used industry connection and invitation to exclusive events to keep her attached. Mr. Combs went so far as to invite her to Kim Porter's birthday celebration. And everyone, you can see the birthday celebration invitation there, right? So you can make it out, you can read it, right? But that was Tuesday, December 16th, 1997, at the Cheetah in West 21st, on 12th, West 21st Street, New York City at 10:30 p.m. Blah, blah, blah. You can read the rest. So Let's continue. End of the road. I know we are to the end of the road.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Let's summarize
Yeah.
these encounters. Let's summarize these encounters so far.
Okay. Okay.
Her accusations, or what she's having the lawyer put in the lawsuit, is that she was in college, she was young, naive,
Mm-hmm.
and basically Diddy is somebody that was in one of her contacts, somebody that was notable in her contacts, that pretty much said he would help her to get a job after graduation, to get notable internships or whatnot.
Correct.
In doing so, she would be drugged, threatened.
No, he didn't tell her, because the way you're putting it is like, in doing so, is like she was told that she would be drug threatened and.
Oh, okay, right. But she would be forced to.
In doing so, she didn't know that she would be forced to do these things.
Right. So my thing is if she's filing a lawsuit in
No,
regards,
not if she has.
right, she's filing a lawsuit.
She has.
Stating these things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how a judge is going to rule in her favor,
You don't see?
because one would say, why didn't you reach out to someone to help you out of that situation?
This is why I asked you earlier if you ever known anyone that has been abused in that manner, and wanted to say something. Pardon me. Wanted to say something, but was in fear of the repercussions. This is why I asked you earlier.
Right.
Because
right.
unless you've actually known someone or experienced it yourself, you wouldn't understand. I could see why a judge would rule in our favor. It's clear as day to me, right? Because I'm not a judge, right? But these allegations, accusations, summarizes what her experiences were. It summarizes the conditions to why she felt troubled, or why she felt fearful of making any claims.
Right.
Think about it. You have a powerful man that can ruin your career. That means he can get you blacklisted any time he decides to. Let me tell you another quick story, and I spoke about this a long time ago. I used to have this female boss, right? Her last name is Friend. Right? I'm not going to mention her first name, but her last name is Friend. So going off of that, Friend, she was quite interested in me. My mom came to the job, and she told my mom, "Oh, your son is so tall and handsome, right? The things I would do to him, right?"
Really?
Yes. And my mom said, "Huh? I understand that my son is attractive. He's a nice looking guy, but you didn't have to tell me what you want to do to him." She was like, "You don't know, right? He is just so sexy, right?" And there's a couple of things that were said. And after that, she went on to come to work in short clothes. She would throw her legs up on the counter. On the desk. I could see everything.
Wow.
And
Giving
she would
you the view.
Yes,
Giving you the view.
and she did it in front of the assistant manager. And the assistant manager, she would look at me and she's like,
"What you gonna do with
Did
that?"
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Are you looking? I would walk away, and she would ask me to stay after work to give her massages, and I wouldn't do it.
What?
Yeah, and I wouldn't do it. Right? She threw a leg up on the desk, right? And I know her intentions, but I would steer the conversation away from what
She looked it fine though. Be honest.
She on a scale of one to ugly, I give her she was about a 5-6, right? She was
alright.
average. She was average, right? But
you could make it through, basically.
yeah, you could make it through if you were, yeah. Yeah. On a good day, she would be a 6.5. Makeup and stuff, she'd be a 6.5. She wasn't, she wasn't a bad looking woman, right?
Okay, mid.
Right?
Okay.
She was Caucasian too,
Ah.
right? And because I would not comply with her sexual advances, she started making my life a living hell. She started piling on her work to me while demanding that I completed my work on time and complete her work as well. She wanted me to do her report, to return to the court, to send to the
What?
to give to the
crazy.
corporate office, because I was I knew how to do that. I had previously had a position, and I used to create reports for the state and for the corporate office, right? So she knew that, so she started piling on her work to me, right? And I'm the one why she got the job, because my boss, our boss then, wanted to give me the job, and I said no. Right, my then child's mother wanted me to take the job, and I said no, I don't want to do that. I know the stress that comes with it.
Right.
So
right.
so the president sent her over and asked me to low-key interview her, so she don't know that I was the reason why she got the job. Because if I told the president that, hey, she's not a good fit, she wouldn't have gotten the job.
Right.
That woman made my life a living hell, and because I would not have sex with her, she got me fired. You understand? On my mother's birthday at the time, right?
That's tough.
So when a person have power and they know that they can ruin you, and furthermore, after my check was sent to the job, the woman put my check in her desk and would not mail it out. I went there to pick it up, and she said she didn't have it. I spoke to the corporate office, and they said it was mailed out. The courier showed that it was delivered. She have it. They called her and asked her what she's doing, why she's holding on to the check. She lied to them and told them that she mailed it, and it should be to me arrived to me in 3 days. 4 days later, it did not arrive. I went to the office and asked about it,
Right.
and she said, the assistant manager at the time, not going to call her name, told me that, hey, it was just dropped in the mail today, right? So I was told that it was sent out, mailed out 4 days before I went there. When I went there, and then when I got there, she called the police on me and got me arrested, right? Got me arrested for trespassing. She didn't tell the corporate office that she put a trespass on me. There was no reason for her to do it, but just because I would not be intimate with her, would not have sex with her, she was doing everything to be spiteful, because I reported her actions, and the person that took over from the previous president was a person that was smitten over her. He was a very tiny person, right? He was like maybe 4'2", and she was 5'8".
Understood.
So he was smitten over her. And so once he realized that she had interest in me, I became his arch enemy too. So he had to get me away from her. But she had told me that she was never interested in him, but he's interested in her. But she had power now. She had power over me, my footing on being a stable individual to provide for my family. And she had power over him because he wanted her, and he would have done anything to get her affection, but she was not interested in. Do you understand the power a person can hold?
Completely understood.
Exactly.
I think where Diddy's defense, and I'm not rooting for Diddy to I'm not rooting to see anyone be put in any imprisonment situations.
Okay.
But if you do something that is wrong and the court of law finds you guilty, whatever penalty comes to you, you should take it
Yeah.
as is.
Yeah.
But in Diddy's defense, though,
In his defense,
not me defending him, I'm saying the work his lawyers would do.
I don't care about his lawyers.
But listen, though, they would say, okay, can you show us people that you've reached out to during that time that that you reached out to for help?
Oh, you mean in terms of therapy?
It could be anything. Therapy, a friend you were telling you were informing about the situations of you getting raped. And
Oh, you
feeling
mean
weak
her?
after-
You mean
right.
her?
You feeling weak after these parties or whatnot.
Okay, I understand your point, but I'm going to speak in terms of, I reiterate again.
And still, no, I completely understand the point you made was saying like how the power dynamic can work against someone in her position. But in saying that, can you at least let us know 3 people you told the situation to? Because you explained this story clear.
Yeah.
You reached out to the corporate. You told your mom, of course.
No, she
And-
told my mom.
Well, she told your mom, but you have about 2 people that you reached out to during the situation, letting them know, hey, look, this lady's trying to get with me. I'm not dealing with that. Yada yada.
You're missing the point. I'm going to say to you again.
Okay, please make the point again in case I missed
So please listen careful.
Mm-hmm.
Power. You ever hear this saying? Power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power. Absolute power. How it goes? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and power something like that. Power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power corrupts something like.
Gee, I never heard of it, and it seems
Ray,
like
you
you're
ever
forgetting.
You ever hear that, Ray?
Hell no.
Okay, so let me look it up, and I'm gonna read it. Power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power. I'm gonna look it up. So sorry, everyone, bear with me for a second. I'm gonna look this up.
To our viewers, we hope
Power.
you're enjoying the show.
Power corrupts absolutely. All right, I think that's the quote. Okay. Power corrupts absolutely. Power. Okay. Power corrupts absolute. Oh, power. Let me. I don't think the Lord action. Where's that word? Power corrupts. Power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Right. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the quote, right? Right. So absolute power corrupts absolutely. So Diddy has absolute power, and that absolute power corrupted him absolutely. Right? So when and anyone that has that kind of power. So now if you are a mere individual, she could have said something to a friend. Yes, I understand. But he threatened her that if you say anything to anyone, I can ruin you. So you and I are associates, and something happened to me, and I came and tell you. There's a chance that you'll tell somebody else, right? And it will get out. Yes or no?
No.
So,
and especially if you let me know, like, Charles, do not tell anyone about this, it wouldn't get out.
Okay. Now, I understand what you just said. Now, if Ray did something to you harmful, that's so egregious, and you find it that it was a very offensive to you, it made you feel disenchanted from everything else or everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to tell me, but Ray said to you that if you open your mouth and say anything to anybody, I could ruin you. Are you going to tell me?
I'm still going to let you know. What do you mean?
You're still going to let me know?
Of course.
And if you let me know, and I speak to someone and it gets back to Ray, and I speak to someone, and let's say those someone or someone in authority, like a police officer, right? And it gets back to Ray, and Ray has the power and influence with those law provide
officials, right?
Those officials, right? What you think is going to happen to that information? You think they're going to do anything with it? They've been paid or they've been influenced. Do you think they're going to do anything with it?
I understand what you mean.
And then now they didn't do anything with it, and now you're left out without an umbrella because I removed the umbrella from covering you.
Understood.
And now he's coming down. He's going to come raining on you.
Understood.
And when the rain comes, you're going to be drenched, and you don't know what the rain is going to come with.
That's the risk that it comes with.
But that risk could be your demise. That risk could be your demise. It doesn't mean that you're going to be ruined. You're going to be ruined, and that's it. You're going to be blacklisted and possibly be outed,
Well, I guess she had to make a
unalive.
decision. I guess she had to
She
make a
made
decision.
she made the decision. But what happened in her favor is that the courts made a decision, an act, right? The gender act, right?
Yeah.
Which allowed it's called the gender
The gender motivated.
motiva-
Hold on, let me go back.
the gender motivated act, right?
No, gender motivated violence act.
The gender motivated violence act. But lucky for her, that law became enacted, and now she can come out. Let me akin this to the whistleblower.
Okay.
You work for a company,
okay.
and you see them dumping chemicals in a lake that fish live in, that people go to fish in that lake for the fish, and it's a village that live off of the fish that grows in that lake, right? That lake is deep and it's connected somewhere else, and the fish always coming. And then you see a corporation, right, dumping chemicals close to the lake or on the precipice of the lake, the borders of the lake, and it's seeping into the lake. What will happen to those people? They start developing cancer, right?
Yeah, they get sick.
They get sick. Now, people were seeing that, and they were fearful of opening their mouth and saying anything, because what would happen to them? They'll lose their job, right? Yeah. And then they'll file lawsuits against them and say that they didn't abide by the non-disclosure act, non-disclosure document that they signed, and file a lawsuit against them and sink them into the abyss, right? So they're not going to say anything. They're going to keep their mouth shut until the whistleblower act came out, the whistleblower law, and then boom, a whole bunch of people start coming out of the woodworks. This is akin to that same whistleblower act, right? So the fact that they came up with this law to protect people that have experienced, male and female, right? Because if a woman does this to a man, it's still a gender violence. It's still gender violence, right?
Gender motivated
violence. If a man does this to a woman, it's still gender motivated. Exactly, right? So to say that why she didn't say anything to anybody is because of fear. The fear that is not only that she could be blacklisted, but she could possibly lose her life.
Yeah, I mean, that's a risk that people in that position have to take, and I think it's good that they had this act put in place because she had to make a tough decision, bro. That's clear as water. No side of it.
Have you ever been fired from a job?
Yeah.
Okay, how did it make you feel?
It was a job I didn't like, so I really didn't mind. I was shortcutting them.
Have you been fired from a job you did like?
Fired from a job I enjoyed doing.
Yes.
Fired from a job I enjoyed doing.
Speak.
No. Honestly, I haven't.
Let's go 10, 20 years in the future, and today is retroactive. Okay. And 10 years in the future, you're doing a job that you like, and you get fired from it. Retroactively, you're going to remember this conversation.
Right.
So today, you don't understand what a person that have experienced these kind of traumas, because you can't relate. Until you can relate, I'm trying to give you examples.
You're giving pretty good examples here.
So you can relate, but you can't relate because you haven't experienced these, right?
No.
Yeah. You remember, you were just born this morning, right? I was.
But I'm being
I was born. I was born last week.
I'm being honest. I'm not trying to have the just agree to agree thing, because there's some of our viewers are going to think like that as they watch and listen, and we're like, yeah, we know she was in fear. You know, we know you filed the lawsuit now, but I mean, you didn't let X amount of people know? You didn't reach out to these people to at least put together a
You're
report?
still missing it, man.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
I got
you
the
are.
point. I got the point.
But you're still going back to why she didn't say something to someone. You're still missing it.
Remember I said she has a choice. It was a choice that she has.
She did not have a choice.
No, meaning like she has the choice to go and make a complaint, or she had the choice to oblige with what Diddy said.
She did not have.
She made the choice.
She did not have a choice.
How is that not a choice?
Gosh, man.
How?
You need help, man. Maybe we need to call somebody in today. Somebody can explain to you, man.
No, I completely understand.
Yeah.
I understand. But at the end of the day, Diddy made a proposition to her, and she followed suit with what he said. Is that not fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she did not have a choice.
Okay. All right. Let's move forward.
All right. Thank you.
Let's move forward. End of the road. You want to take it or I'll take it?
You take it.
Okay. End of the road. In or about 1998, Miss Lampros found the courage to end her relationship with Mr. Combs. Aha. She had finally suffered enough. However, this ending was one-sided. Mr. Combs and Kim Porter weren't done with Miss Lampros. Kim Porter was very resentful of Miss Lampros after she was forced to engage in sex acts with Miss Lampros. She dined at Miss Lampros' place of employment, a bar named Sliver, which was in Soho. According to Miss Lampros, Miss Porter was enraged when she saw her. According to Miss Lampros, 2 days later, Miss Porter called her employer and complained to the manager, alleging that Miss Lampros attempted to poison her. She then stated that her boyfriend was Sean Combs and could have the business shut down if he did not immediately terminate Miss Lampros. Wow. Later that evening, the manager told her he had to let her go because Mr. Combs called and demanded that he fire her.
Did that just answer?
Absolutely. That is crazy.
Did that just answer the exchange that we just have?
Right.
Okay.
That is...
Okay. And was it Diddy that did that, or was it Kim that did that?
I saw Diddy, man.
Okay.
I saw Diddy.
Okay. Exactly. So now you understand. She was fired then.
And it kind of brings similar to the first point you made.
Which point was that?
When you were working and the lady telling your mom,
yes,
oh, your son is this, that.
Yes. All right.
Mr. Lant, you want to take 61?
Yes, I'll take 61. So, 61. Miss Lampros believed that Miss Porter got Miss Lampros fired in retaliation for what Mr. Combs made them do. According to Miss Lampros, her boss was afraid of Mr. Combs and his contacts and told her he had to do it. Mr. Combs could risk getting his business. Mr. Combs could risk getting his business closed. Number 63. Miss Lampros called Mr. Combs and he showed no remorse that she was out of a job. In fact, he laughed about it. That is a sociopath.
That is crazy.
Right? At the time she ended their relationship, Miss Lampros recalled Mr. Combs' penis being adolescent. Ooh.
Do our viewers see that? We gotta highlight them. We gotta highlight that for them, Ray.
Let's highlight that paragraph so I can read
64,
it. Just
brethren.
64. Just 64. Yeah. Yeah, the highlight 64 for me, man. No, you're. I guess it's not. Okay, you got it. All right, 64. Everybody, read along. Something is covering that, Ray. Yeah. Oh shucks, it's messing. Oh shucks, go backspace. Yeah. Don't worry about it then because it's not AI. It's not allowing you to. Wait. Yeah. Right there. Steady. Yeah.
We got him.
Yeah. So at the time she ended their relationship. Miss Lampros recalled Mr. Combs' penis being adolescent. Repeat that.
Adolescently.
Repeat that. Adolescent. Repeat it.
Adolescently.
Repeat it.
Yeah, dog.
In both length and width. Wow. Adolescently in both. Yes, length and width. Wow.
That's crazy.
She recalled him being circumcised and remembers a tattoo on his chest. Wow. 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 Mr. Combs. Sean, did it? Oh, hey, wait. Now did it make sense?
Why do you say that?
Because Diddy got morphed into Diddler, right?
Here you go.
And a diddler can only be something that's tiny.
Man, you gonna make Diddy come send his people to bother you, man.
Yeah, hey, maybe he's gonna come send his people to come bother us. But hey, Tyrone Blackburn will be your attorney.
Hey, good one.
All right.
Sean John Clothing.
Yeah.
All right, let's crunch. While in a relationship with Mr. Combs, Miss Lampros was a student at FIT. She had a passion for fashion. That rhymes. I like that.
Yeah, passion for fashion.
She had a passion for fashion. And I might use that in one of my lyrics that I'm writing.
Hey, let's get back to the story, man.
And Mr. Combs knew this. Mr. Combs promised Miss Lampros several working opportunities in the fashion and music industry, and the two often discussed his plans to launch his own clothing brand. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Within months of Miss Lampros ending their relationship, Mr. Combs launched Sean John.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So now this account is eerily accurate. Right? Yeah. Yes, it's speaking in retrospect because she's in the future. Mm-hmm. So she's speaking as if like she's a prophet or someone who can see in the future, but her account of the timeline matches up, right? But
yeah.
Let's continue. All right.
You want to take encounter 4?
Yes. Sexual assault encounter number 4. Can I get a drum roll?
I got you.
According to Miss Lampros, she saw Mr. Combs at an event at Rockefeller Center in or about the end of 2000, towards the beginning of 2001. At this time, Miss Lampros said Mr. Combs may have been filming a season of Making the Band. You remember that, right? Making the Band?
Yeah.
Yeah. But weren't you born this morning? You remember that? I was messing with you. All right.
Got jokes.
According to Miss Lampros, when Mr. Combs saw her, he approached Miss Lampros and asked the camera crew to turn off the camera to not film their interaction. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs asked her how she was, expressed to her that he missed her, and asked if she would leave the event at Rockefeller Center with him. Miss Lampros rejected Mr. Combs and left. This man is relentless. He is as if they just had a parting of ways, and he saw her again, and hey, let's reconnect from where we left off. Right? That's sadistic. That's sociopathic, right? Because in front of everybody, he showed this brilliant, unapologetic music executives, music executive that could smile and woo the world, but behind the closed door, he was doing these very devious, nefarious, wicked, mentally sadistic acts. Mr. Combs.
Crazy.
All right. So you want to take 71?
Sure. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs does not like the word no. He called a few more times, so she stopped answering the phone. According to Miss Lampros, a few days later, he called again, begging to see her. Reluctantly and regrettably, she allowed him to come over to her apartment, located at 477 Central Park West, to hear what he had to say. Miss Lampros figured it was during the day and doubted that he would try to harm her. According to Miss Lampros, when she opened the door, his security was sitting on the stairwell. Knowing that security was there, Miss Lampros feel a little better about letting him in. They sat on her couch and began talking. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs began apologizing for his past behaviors. He started telling her that he was a changed man. He then showered her with compliments, telling her how good she looked, and kept reminiscing about their prior sex life. He then began dropping hints about them having sex. Miss Lampros rejected his advances. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Mr. Combs violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her. He began kissing her and touching her against her will. At that point,
let me take
you
that
wanna
one.
make a point?
Let me take that one, but before I take that one, suddenly I'm gonna read number 75 again. Suddenly, out of nowhere. Now, that's a bold statement. Suddenly, out of nowhere, has he not, or has he done the suddenly out of nowhere prior to that? I mean, she had been abused by him around other people. Why would she not think that he would do this again? But I'm not victimizing the victim again. I'm just making a point that, but let's just chalk it down that she was being naive again and giving him another mulligan.
Right.
All right. So suddenly, out of nowhere, Mr. Combs violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her. He began kissing her and touching her against her will. At that point, Miss Lampros fought him off after she quickly realized it was a big mistake to have allowed him to visit her. She told him to leave as she felt that he just wanted to use her for sex and hadn't changed at all. All right, number 77. Even more disgusting was the fact that Miss Lampros knew that Mr. Combs was involved in a very public relationship with Jennifer Lopez. As you can see, Jennifer Lopez and Sean John Clothing, Sean John Combs walking, coming into somewhere with some magazines and paper or something, right? According to several media reports from that time, Mr. Combs ended his relationship with Jennifer Lopez due to infidelity in February 2001. That's not strange, right?
Wow.
This was around the same time that Mr. Combs sexually assaulted Miss Lampros. Luckily for Miss Lampros, the couch was right near the door of the apartment, so it was easy for her to reach for the door, opened it, and demand for him to leave. Wow. She ensured that his security could hear her telling him to exit. She was afraid that Mr. Combs would have raped her, as he does not take no for an answer and had a history of violence, handling her and forcing her to perform oral on him. Number 80, Miss Lampros is in possession of several of Mr. Combs' phone numbers throughout the years. And as you can see, the phone number is there and partly redacted. You want me to try to unredact it so you can get the number? Miss Lampros discovered that Mr. Combs recorded and disclosed a tape of him having sex with her. According to Miss Lampros, in or about 2023, wow, Miss Lampros was at a function and a gentleman, redacted, informed the man Miss Lampros was dating that he should reconsider dating her because he personally saw a video of her and Sean Combs having sex. Wow. According to Miss Lampros, redacted, according to Miss Lampros, redacted, shared that he saw the tape during the summer of 1997. According to Miss Lampros, she was told that Mr. Combs apparently recorded them having sex without her knowing and showed it to multiple people. He has a pattern of doing that. That's his forte. That's his nomenclature. That's his MO.
Now, if these people that seen that video come forward, I think what's coming to him is well deserved.
You think what's coming to him is well deserved?
Yes. If no matter who it was,
you know what's going to happen?
If they say, yo, we seen him, yeah, he showed us that video of this, what's coming to him is well deserved.
Because even though he did it in back in the 90s, he's still recounting that trauma every time he sees her. She's reliving that trauma every time he sees her because he constantly does stuff to remind her. So it makes what happened in the past current. So now they can go back and get that information to use it because he's still terrorizing her with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So first cause of action, battery. You want to take that?
Ms. Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. The defendant committed battery against Ms. Lampros when he penetrated Ms. Lampros orally and vaginally against her will, as detailed in the 4 encounters above. In addition, Ms. Combs physically assaulted Ms. Lampros when he pulled her hair and forced her to perform oral sex on him in an open parking garage with the parking attendant watching. Defendant Combs intentionally and without her consent attacked Ms. Lampros to satisfy his sexual desires under all circumstances. The defendant's physical contact with Mrs. Lampros was offensive and wrongful. Defendant Combs continued to attack Ms. Lampros despite her attempts to thwart his actions. The defendant's conduct was the direct and proximate cause of Ms. Lampros' past and future substantial damages, including significant pain and suffering, lasting psychological and financial harm, loss of dignity, and invasion of privacy.
Now that's very important. Significant harm, loss of dignity. So that's psychological, mental, that's emotional, and that's financial. Right? So those three things can cause a person to off themselves.
Yeah.
That's strength why she's still around and did not do something harmful to herself. Right? So I commend her on that. Right? Let's give a hand clap for that, Ray. I commend. Yes. I commend her on. I commend her on that because that's strength to be able to withstand that kind of turmoil, that kind of emotional and mental pressure.
Right.
That I have to said, hey, she deserved a round of applause and much more. All right. Let me take 88. The defendant's action constitutes sexual offenses as defined in Article 130 of the New York Penal Law, including but not limited to sexual misconduct and forcible touching. The plaintiff's claim for battery is thus timely under the Gender Motivated Violence Act, New York City. All right. So, as you can see, they brought it up again to reiterate and substantiate what she's been experiencing, the financial, the emotional, the mental, all that turmoil that she's been experiencing. They use that because it's a gender motivated
gender motivated violence.
Violence. I keep forgetting the violence. Gender motivated violence against her. Second cause of action: assault, sexual assault. Let me take the first part.
Go ahead.
All right. Miss Lampros incorporates by reference. Yeah, Miss Lampros incorporates by reference all proceedings, paragraph, and re-alleges them as if set forth fully herein. As described above, defendant Combs frightened and placed plaintiff in apprehension of harm when he physically assaulted her within the city of New York. 92. Defendant forcibly touched and attempted and or threatened to touch plaintiff's intimate areas and or touch her with his intimate body parts. 93. As a result of defendant Combs' conduct, plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, and other consequential damages for which she is entitled to an award of monetary damages and other relief. Haha. Now you understand how that lawsuit is going to work in her favor, and that she's going to, if she gets 100 million, hey, he's down another 100 million, right? They're going to he was touting, black kings, black power. He's a billionaire, right?
Nah, he don't gotta scream that.
Showing his fist in the air, on a video that I watched, right? Now, let's see how kingly he is right now, because of these acts are savagery. So let's see how kingly he is, right? And some will say, oh, you guys are of the same ethnic group. No, this guy is not. He is a savage. All right, so you want me to continue or you want to take 94?
Go ahead, you can finish.
All right. The conduct of defendant Combs described above was willful, wanton, and malicious. At all relevant times, defendants acted with conscious disregard to plaintiff's rights and feelings, acted with the knowledge of or with reckless disregard for the fact that his conduct was certain to cause injury and or humiliation to plaintiff, and intended to cause fear, physical injury and or pain and suffering to plaintiff. By virtue of the foregoing, plaintiff is entitled to recover punitive damages, that's money, or whatever else that comes with it, to relieve these stresses and painful damages that have been taking place over time. This causes, so 95, this cause of action is timely under the Gender Motivated Violence Act of New York City, right? Third cause of action: negligent implication of emotional distress. You want to take this?
Yeah. Miss Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding.
Hold on. Let's do this because I would like to explain what negative implication is of negative implication. So let's look this up. Paste. Negative implication. Well, maybe it's infliction. I don't
No, negligent infliction of emotional distress.
Sorry, everybody. That's my dyslexia reading for me. Right. Thank you. I guess you can. So sorry, everybody. I'm not a dunce. Just sometimes I see things that's not there, and I take full accountability of that. Okay. I've been told that I will read what I'm not seeing. So maybe let's chalk that down to some dyslexia. So don't hold that against me. Just hope that I do better. Right. All right. Take it away.
Okay. Third cause of action, negligent infliction of emotional distress. Ms. Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. The defendant's conduct created an unreasonable risk of causing emotional distress to plaintiff, and the defendants knew or should have known that such conduct was likely to result in emotional distress that might and or likely would cause illness or bodily harm. The plaintiff's emotional distress was foreseeable to the defendants. Yes, the plaintiff's emotional distress was foreseeable to the defendants, and as a direct and proximate result of the negligent conduct of the defendants, plaintiffs suffered and will continue to suffer severe emotional distress. Defendant's conduct was wanton, malicious, willful, and or cruel, entitling plaintiff to punitive damages. She going for that money. This cause of action is timely under the Adult Survivors Act.
Yeah.
Because it arises out of conduct perpetrated against plaintiff who is the statutory age or older at the time of conduct, which constitutes multiple sexual offenses.
No, you're too far away from the mic, man. You need to
as defined.
No, start a whole
Hold on. This cause of action is timely under the Adult Survivors Act because it arises out of conduct perpetrated against plaintiff who was the statutory age or older at the time of conduct, which constitutes multiple sexual offenses defined Article 130 of the New York Penal Law. Okay, I think we're good there.
All right, cool. So, all right, the fourth cause of action.
Man, this is serious.
Yes, this is serious. This is that. So that's I wish we had started much earlier, man, because the next one.
This is serious.
Yeah. Fourth cause of action. Violation of the victims of gender motivation violence protection law. Okay? That's New York Penal Code. Man, you guys can read it. So Miss number 102. Miss Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. Number 103. The above described conduct of defendant Combs include but not limited to Combs' sexual assault of plaintiff in New York City constitutes a crime of violence against plaintiff and is a crime of violence motivated by gender as defined in Section 10 1103. The term of crime of violence means an act or series of acts that would constitute a misdemeanor or felony against the person as defined in the state or federal law that would constitute a misdemeanor or felony against property as defined in the state or federal law if the conduct presents a serious risk of physical injury or to another, whether or not those acts have actually resulted in criminal charges, prosecution, or conviction, and the term crime of violence motivated by gender means a crime of violence committed because of gender or on the basis of gender and due at least in part to an animus basis on the victim's gender. Number 104, defendant Sony Music Entertainment and their subsidiary Arista Record enable Mr. Combs to commit the crime of violence motivated by gender and are therefore also liable under the VGM VPL. So that can be looked up. You guys can look that up, or we won't be doing that right now. Number 105, as detailed above, Miss Lampros worked for Arista Records during Mr. Combs' assault. Bad Boy Records was a subsidiary of Arista Record at the time. Miss Lampros reported to her manager, Jeff, who was an agent of Arista Record. Number 106, defendants Arista Records and Sony Music Entertainment enable Mr. Combs' commission of the crimes of violence motivated by gender and thus are liable under the New York, which is NYC Victims Gender Motivated Protection Act. Number 107, defendant Arista Records and Sony Music Entertainment enabled or participated in the sexual abuse of plaintiffs because defendants failed to, among other things, protect plaintiffs from a known danger, have sufficient policies and procedures in place to prevent sexual assault, properly implemented policies and procedures to prevent sexual assault, take reasonable measures to ensure that policies to prevent sexual assaults were working, train their employees to identify sexual assault and inappropriate workplace behaviors, protect their employees from sexual assault, and adhere to the applicable standard of care. 108, defendant Arista Records enable or participated in the sexual abuse of plaintiffs because defendants failed to timely and properly educate, train, supervise, and or monitor their agents or employees regarding policies and procedures that should be followed when sexual abuse is suspected or observed. 109, prior to Combs' sexual assaulting plaintiffs, Arista Record knew or should have known that Combs was not fit to be in a position of authority. Position of authority. Pause. Defendants by and through their agent, servants, and or employees became aware or should have become aware of Combs's propensity to commit sexual assault and of the risk of plaintiff's safety. Take it over from right there for me. At the very least.
Which line are you on again?
Excuse me. At the plaintiff's very least.
No, one what? Because
109.
Okay. Prior to Combs.
No. 109. Fourth line down, almost at the end. At the very least.
Oh, at the very least, defendants knew or should have known that they did not have sufficient information about whether or not their leaders, managers, and people were safe to be in positions of power. Defendant Arista Records knew or should have known that Combs posed a risk of sexual assault. Defendant Arista failed to properly supervise Combs and protect plaintiff from a known danger, thereby enabling Combs' repeated sexual assaults on plaintiff. Defendant Arista Records negligently deemed Mr. Combs was fit to be in a position of authority, and or that any previous suitability problems Mr. Combs had were fixed and cured, and or that Mr. Combs would not commit acts of sexual assault, and or that Mr. Combs would not injure others. Moreover, defendant Arista Records enabled the sexual abuse of plaintiff by actively maintaining and employing Mr. Combs in a position of power and authority through which Mr. Combs had control over people, including plaintiff. As a direct and proximate result of the aforementioned crime of violence and gender-motivated violence, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain monetary damages, physical injury, pain and suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress, entitling her to an award of compensatory and punitive damages, injunctive and declaratory relief, attorney fees and cost, and other remedies as this court may deem appropriate damages as set forth in. The above described conduct of defendants constitutes a sexual offense as defined in Article 130 of the New York Penal Law pursuant to 10-1105. This cause of action is timely because it is commenced within 2 years and 6 months after September 1st of 2022.
All right, everyone. I apologize. I'm a bit. My allergies acting up, so I'm sorry when it acts up. Sometimes it causes me to cough or other things. So if it happens again, I'll just have you take over, and so I could.
I think we're at the tail end of this.
Yeah,
This is just
prayer of relief.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we're almost done, so might as well we just finish and then wrap it up, right?
Yeah, the skimming through this just has the prayer of relief.
Yeah,
and it states who Tyrone Blackburn is.
Hey,
yeah, attorney verification.
Tyrone A. Blackburn. I mean, he's burning. He's burning the charts right now.
Giving Diddy problems right now.
I mean, if he was a recording artist, he's hitting platinum. He's probably almost at when these lawsuits are settled. Wasn't he? I think it wasn't he the lawyer for Cassie's lawyer.
No, I think she had another lawyer. To be honest with you.
Wait,
I don't know who her lawyer was.
Let's say
I thought it was this guy. Da 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 da.
Who was
Man.
Cassie's lawyer?
Everybody that has trouble with Diddy in the past, you could call on Tyrone.
Yeah, man. Cassie Ventura, lawyer. I don't know who's. I thought he was a lawyer. I looked at the lawsuit, but I forget. But anyway, so listen, man. This was very. I told you guys this was going to be very interesting. The other lawsuit, the other one with McKinney, the one that Ray briefly pulled up. That was filed in the same week, right? So these was filed this past week, I believe, so we have a lot going on with Diddy. So thank you, everyone. I think those of you that are watching, I appreciate your time watching. If you're going to watch the replay, I hope you enjoy our reaction. All right, this was a Say What reaction. We put it under the Police and Policy moniker because it's a legal a thing, and the courts are going to really have a field day with this guy. I mean, so thanks for watching, and please remember to like, share, subscribe. You can support the channel by going to chat.tips. You want to get on the show or find out any information, you can call 1-844-PUT-ME-ON. That's 1-844-788-6366. That's 1-844-PUT-ME-ON. All right? So thank you and good night.
Good night.
So we can
This is a good show.